Yeah, let's. Hi there. This is our weekly live broadcast. We discuss search AI, search engine optimization, content marketing, link building, everything that is has something and a lot to do with online visibility. We pick new topic every week, and we try to make it very timely based on what's going on in our industry. So, and if you want to be up to date with our very fast evolving industry at this point, it's changing every month. Please join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. We broadcast on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And I'm Ann Smarty. I have been in SEO for more than 20 years at this point, so I have seen it all. I have seen it evolve into actually an industry, a digital marketing industry, because when we started, it was really Wild West. It was fun, but it was fun seeing it evolve, and it is even more fun to be an SEO today and being able to compare 10, 5, 20 years ago and see where we are going. I think I have that experience that can somehow contribute to today's trends and give me some insights into what's going on. I'm the co-founder of Smarty Marketing. That's a boutique SEO agency based in New York. We do not do old school SEO. All our services, you can check our website, all our services align with what's going on in the industry. We work on branding, we use Reddit, we do all of those high-level SEO strategies that are required these days. It's not about keyword matching and paying for links these days for sure, not the shortcuts. With me today and always, April, our director of social media. She does outreach for us. She does brand identity for us. She does all cool stuff, but SEO. So she brings that press perspective, not SEO perspective, to these chats, and also asks questions from herself, from you. So please ask questions on whichever platform you are watching us from, because we love hearing from you for sure. Please subscribe, and smarty.com is where I announce every week our new topic and give links where you can join us and see and watch us talk and ask your questions. Again, nsmarty.com is my newsletter. It's weekly as well as these broadcasts. We will start discussing an interesting topic today. I'm very practical, so I usually provide practical advice to that aligns with everything that's going on in our industry. But before that, as a tradition, and some important update from SEO community, Google, I think, announced, or maybe that's new research from Ahrefs, or maybe both, but AI overviews expanded. There are many more AI overviews these days, many more queries trigger AI overviews. If you don't know what AI overviews are, those are AI generated answers to queries that Google shows on top of organic search results. Why they are important is because we lose clicks because of them. There are very satisfying, very detailed answers given in AI overviews. So many people do not click at all. They either keep searching or they just get their quick answer and leave. So many searches do not result in a click to any website, including yours. Losing clicks from search results isn't a new topic. It has been happening for the past 10 years with Google introducing featured snippets, knowledge graph answers, all of those. So it's not exactly the new trend, but of course, with AI overviews, it is much more dramatic. According to different studies, the click-through to organic search results has declined 15 to 30% anytime AI overviews are showing. So if you have not yet, please go ahead and check your Google traffic. You can do it in Search Console. If you notice a few declines, that's probably because there are some AI overviews showing for your important queries. So you can search for those queries and check what what is showing to you right now. If you do have AI reviews showing for your important queries, please check my previous newsletter. Last week we did discuss the topic about how to revive some of those clicks, how to prioritize content that requires a click, so that people even reading the summarized answer to a search query will still have to click to get a better answer from you. This is the topic of the last week. I do link there to our discussion, to our video discussion as well. So please check it out and see if there is something you can get from that newsletter, and if there are any tactics you should be prioritizing now to revive those clicks. With that, that is it for this week's fresh update from the SEO industry. Again, nsmarty.com is where you can find the last week's episode of my newsletter and our video broadcast replay as well. Today's topic is not as timely, at least since 2023, we've been dealing with this phenomenon, with this concept of helpful content. And today we are going to be a little more practical about that and maybe come up with some ideas, not all ideas, of how to make your content more helpful. Before that, just a quick background, why we even care, what's helpful content and why we need to provide helpful content. Since 2023, Google has had 2 updates that are called Helpful Content Update. In that update, they were essentially penalized quite a few pretty good and sometimes very good websites because they were not helpful enough. When those people that lost almost 90% of their traffic to those updates ask Google what is helpful, the answer would always be something that is satisfying to your audience, that gives useful and helpful answers. This is a very vague definition of helpful, of course, and there is always that argument that what's helpful to one person may not be helpful to another person. It's very subjective. It's not something that you can define. Helpfulness is very hard to define. Like I said, something helpful for me can be absolutely useless for someone who does not know a lot about SEO, for example. On the contrary, if I read something very basic about SEO while trying to find very specific answers, that content is not helpful to me. So helpfulness is not something that is easy to define. And just to be clear, we do not know actual algorithmic signals that Google is using to identify helpfulness. I'm sure there is much more to that. There should be usability perspective. Of course, they are tracking click-throughs and engagements with the page. So usually pages that were impacted by helpful content update were the highest traffic pages because Google had click-through data for those pages and could see how people are interacting with the page. Do they leave the page to go back to Google search results? And those were signals for helpfulness as well. So it's not just your content. Of course, there is much more to helpful content as well. And now helpful content algorithm is also part of Google's core algorithm updates that are usually held 4 times a year. So anytime you see traffic decline after one of those core algorithm updates, that could be also helpful content that impacted your site. So it is ongoing. It's now part of the algorithm. That's why it is so important to be aware. Today, we're not talking about the whole thing. Not just because we do not really know exactly what Google is using to identify helpfulness, but we are going to talk only about your content. How do we make content more helpful? And this is where keyword research, the old good keyword research, is very helpful. When you see how people come to your site, or when you search SEMrush or Ahrefs or any other keyword research tool, you can always tell by just looking at that keyword. First, you can tell intent, like what people are trying to do when they're searching. That could be, they could be just looking for a quick answer. They could be much more into the topic, into the sales funnel, and already looking for solutions. And they can find instruction. They're looking for instructions. They're looking just for definitions to understand the word. They may be looking to buy something or to solve a problem, or they may be navigating to a page or find better solutions for something they are doing. By just looking at keyword, you can always tell exactly the search intent. SEMrush does have search intent filters. I think Ahrefs does that too. They are not very reliable from my experience. In most cases, I'm looking at a query and I'm thinking this is something commercial. People are ready to convert. They're ready to do something on the site because they understand the topic well enough to do something on the site. And SEMrush would label it as an informational query. So I would highly suggest anytime you do keyword research, do not rely too much on those labels that SEMrush is using, or Ahrefs or any other tool, and manually actually look at those lists and see for yourself if you agree with that or not. But that's not it. It's not just optimizing for search intent that I'm talking about. And I've talked about a search intent a lot. Again, you can check nsmarter.com. We had many episodes dedicated to keyword research and how to better approach that. Today's topic about actually helpfulness. And usually when you look at the website, at the keyword, you can always tell how familiar the person searching for that is with the topic. In most cases, I have an example of drywall patching in my newsletter. I picked that example because I'm not familiar with the topic, so it was easy for me to say, hey, I don't know that. So people searching for that must be experts. I can provide another example, which is very close to me here, SEO. For example, if someone is building a website or has built a website and wondering how to promote it, how to get search traffic. Imagine, and I was there at some point when I started my first websites. How would you search? You would probably search how to get people to my site. When you start searching for that, you will find the concept of traffic. So now you will start searching for how to get traffic to my website. Next time when you read those articles that you find, or AI overview or quick answer, you will understand, you will come up across the search term SEO. And now you will be searching for what is SEO, how to optimize my site. So the more you get into the topic, the more familiar you get with it, and the more complicated and specific terms you will start searching. So at the beginning, when you just do not know anything about websites or how to get people to visit your website, there will be very basic search terms that you can easily tell people searching for that do not know much about the topic. So they might need a lot of guidelines, a lot of definitions, a lot of 101 content, basically explaining, introducing new terms, explaining what they mean, explaining how to approach them, giving further reading for everything. When you get to a point when you have been building a website for, let's say, a year, now you know things like SEO, you know Google updates, you know losing traffic, you know Search Console, you know conversions, you know engagements with the page and what they mean, you know Google Analytics. So after a year, you know much more, and you no longer need all those basic terms, basic definitions. So building your website based on those understanding of those steps people get to understanding the topic is exactly what Google needs. If you are writing content about SEO, Google's updates, for example, helpful content update, you would know that people do not know definition of SEO at this point. If they're searching for something like helpful content update, they probably have been website owners for at least a year to get to a point where they may have been impacted by helpful content, and they've heard about that, or they want to provide more helpful content just because they're already familiar with that. And if you are selling something like, for example, you're a content writer and you want to get those people know you at some point, even work with you, you do not need to optimize your page with everything fluffy, like with Google does call that fluff content, when you provide unnecessary information for people who do not need it. And that those usually are old school SEOs who are taught to optimize for just about any keyword variation. At some point, stuck them all on one page to make it longer. I know we've had a lot of experience with long form content for at least 5 years. The whole SEO industry was for long form content. There were numerous studies proving that long content ranks better. So now we were trying to put everything we could on one page. Those would be FAQs, definitions, basic information, even the history of SEO. Everything would go on the same page. And that fluff content, as Google calls it, would prevent people who were actually looking for answers or for instructions from interacting with the page, so they get overwhelmed and they just leave. To avoid that, keyword research should also be categorized or analyzed in terms of how familiar the person searching for that is with the topic. And in most cases, the more knowledge of the topic a person has, the deeper that person is in the sales funnel. So they can make those informed decisions. They can buy your tool, they can buy your product, they can choose to work with you just because you gave them exactly what they needed and you didn't add a lot of fluff on one page to just optimize it for search engines. Again, AndSmarty.com is where I provide more examples and more instructions. But one thing that I almost forgot to mention is that ChatGPT or Gemini are also good for helping you analyze that part of the keyword. And I provide the prompt that I gave to Gemini on here is my keyword list. Please analyze it in terms of how familiar the person searching for this is with the topic and how much basic information they need. You can expand on that prompt and also ask Gemini or ChatGPT to provide some content formats that would suit this query better. Other content upgrades like FAQs, takeaways, images, screenshots, videos, what be helpful for each searcher, and then go from there to make it easier. Of course, again, disclaimer, do not rely blindly on what ChatGPT or Gemini tell you, because you still need to go through all of that manual and make your own decisions, because in many cases, if you understand the topic, you know better. ChatGPT has still very generic understanding of SEO from my experience, so I always make sure to take what it does, but also add my own understanding and my own perspective to everything it is doing. But it is helpful. It does a good job with understanding search queries, understanding where a person can be in the sales funnel or in the journey of understanding the topic or being an expert and being a beginner. So it is very helpful. So use any of those AI platforms that you are using for that task as well. It's very helpful and will help you understand how to write every article or every instruction or even product description is usually a great way to kind of guide you through that process and make it much faster and doable. And I'm ready for questions. Thank you so much. Again, nsmarty.com, I provide more examples and actual output from Gemini to that prompt that I just said, so you can see the results and see how exactly it can be used for that task. Yes, thank you, Julie. Julie did link to that newsletter in our LinkedIn comments, so please check out. If you're watching from LinkedIn, you will see comments below the video or maybe next to the video. I'm probably not sure. So April, I'm ready for the questions if you have any, or maybe someone in our audience would have some. And you're muted, just
yes. Sorry, I just unmuted myself. So how can content developers create one-on-one basic level content that stands out and ranks higher than other pages targeting the same keywords?
Well, the best way, if you are approaching beginners, people who are just starting in understanding something, if they're very, very new to the topic, the best way to stand out is to say things very easy to understand. I find a lot of one-on-one content articles that are still very hard to understand, especially in topics like foreign to me, like DIY, home improvement, real estate, insurance. Health insurance took me at least 5 years to understand all those terms, even though I type them, what is it, example, easy word, nothing. So being able to talk the language of a newbie in the topic, like to actually be very clear and easy, may help them understand in any way you can. For example, for home improvement, I don't even know how to hold these freaking instruments. So giving them a picture of what it looks like and how you have to hold it correctly is a good idea. Or provide a quick video. Don't do long videos because it is very overwhelming if you have to watch 1-2 videos. So the easiest way you can is you usually, in most cases, you will be very much appreciated, because I find it very hard to like search and find anything that makes it easy for me to understand the topic. Even AI overviews, if you search for something basic, like even what is drywall or whatever, even those AI overviews make it not very easy to understand, because they are repurposing exactly content that is available there. So I guess being able to talk the language of that exact persona, be it an newbie, be it a little bit more advanced person, and then talking the expert language to those who already are deep into the topic, will always be appreciated.
Question from Julie.
How do you implement keywords into your content in a natural way? That is such a good question, because it is still very, very much misunderstood in our industry. Back in 15 years ago, it was absolutely a different strategy. If something has changed in our industry, that is how you implement keywords on a page. First of all, there will be a lot of similar variations of something that exactly means the same thing. If we talk about drywall patching, which is I know now because I did the keyword research, it can be patching, and then it can be covering, it can be other words that exactly mean the same thing. You do not have to use all of them on page. You do not have to use exactly keywords that you find, but it is a good idea to make them prominent on the page, at least keywords that match your content, that align with your content very well. It could be the title of the page, should be the title of the page, at least the main keyword that you choose based on your audience and your searching persona, based on your search intent. You pick your main keyword always, and you make it prominent on the page. It should be, again, title of the page, and it should be at least a couple of those subheadings. It could be the different variation of that keyword, could be a longer tail variation of that keyword, but it should be visible on the page. It helps in several ways. First of all, people searching for that and then getting to your page will see it prominently. You will see it exactly in your H1, in your H2, so they are more likely to read your page because they will see exactly, not exactly, but they would see what they were searching for on your page right away. So I would definitely do that. Meta description, yes, because it will be bold in search results if Google chooses to use it. Title of the page, yes, because again, it will be picked by Google to in search results, so it can increase your click-through. Somewhere on the page, it will be your editorial decision. In most cases, if you say something a little bit differently, it's fine. You can change and choose. The most important thing at this point is not keyword matching so much as answering the keyword. And you will still have to use it if you're answering the query in a good way. You will have to use it somehow on a page, and however you choose it, it's up to the writer of that article. There is no keyword density at this point, and there is no exact keyword matching. So you don't have to stack all of them on the page exactly as they see them in SEMrush, Ahrefs, or Search Console, whatever you're using. You do not have to use exactly that keyword. People would miss stuff when they're searching. They would not use articles. They would not use preposition, postposition, or whatever. You have to make it sound right, whatever you do, and do not just think much about using that keyword as much as you're thinking about answering that query, giving information that gives people whatever they were searching for.
This is just a question I came up with now. Do you think that AI has been making like keyword density less important because now it's more just about actually answering the question?
Yes, and it has been around even before AI, when there were featured snippets, when there were people also asked, we were already being trained to answer the question behind the query. There is always, in most queries, you can expand it very easily to become a question. If it's lawyer in Texas, that the actual question would be, what is the best or most recommended lawyer in Texas? So you can always translate every search query, make it a question, and then you answer that question. And with AI, obviously, it has become even more important because now we are targeting not just organic search results, but also AI reviews and visibility in those AI platforms as well.
I think I have time for one more. Does basic level content need to be updated regularly to stay fresh in Google's eyes, even if there hasn't really been any changes to like the topic?
Well, if there are no changes, then there is no update, of course, because Google does not like us updating it without making a substantial update. What you can do in most cases when you see your older 101 article going down in rankings or delivering less clicks, which is most most basic articles will, because of AI reviews giving those answers. But still, if you see that some of your AI or basic 101 content is losing positions or losing organic visibility, one thing you can do is take that URL, go to your Search Console performance section, put that URL there as a filter, see all the keywords that were driving clicks or impressions to that article since like for 16 months at least, and then see are you doing a good job answering some of those queries? There you will be amazed at how sometimes those will be very specific questions that are very vaguely answered on your page. Now you have an update. You can add a section answering that search query. You can do the same exercise in SEMrush and also put that URL there and see which queries it is ranking for but is not driving any clicks. And you will, in most cases, you will find something to add to your tutorial, to your article, to make it more suitable for those searches, because you may have mentioned that concept or that tutorial or that guidelines, whatever it is, but not as well because you're already ranking for it. Obviously it is on your page, but it is somewhere on page 5. It is not very visible, so you will be able to update that tutorial with something new based on that on existing positions and existing visibility to make it better for those searches as well.
That's actually really helpful.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, these are mostly very practical advice that we are giving here. I'm very action driven. I don't like vague things. I don't like talking about something that I don't know how to help or how to do. So we try to make them very practical and action driven. Please subscribe nsmarter.com to know the topic of our next week's topic, live broadcast. And please come visit us. Maybe you will find some ideas for your website or for your business. I'm sure you will find, because we do provide tactics rather than just telling you what's going on in our industry as well. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great week and a great rest of your day. Enjoy your lunch if that's what you were having with us. And join us next Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. Thank you.